Hey ladies, so I wanted to come to you today to talk a little bit about online connections, mediated connections. So I have 5 tips put together for just a little bit of, I guess, safety, security for online connections. Honestly, I use group chats a lot and I meet face to face. I've done my majority of my degree online and a little bit of face to face, and I go to church and I go to the church in person as I did for years, and then I started going to church like the online, watching the videos whenever I can't make it or I'm out of town or whatever it is. And I still go in person, and then I have like some of the groups that I've taken from courses, have Facebook groups and things like that. And then as you can tell, I have Live Better Than Yesterday online as well. So I kind of think of online mediated communications as another way for us to connect faster and connect like right then and there. As you can see, I'm not wearing much makeup. I have, my glasses on, obviously, and then I have a cap on. Like if you see me during the daytime, I wear a lot of caps as of right now. So I kind of I use online for immediate connections. But being online could also present some problems, communications wise and safety wise, as well as just misinterpretations of what the purpose is and everything like that. So I thought of 5 tips to online connections. My first tip is familiarity. Get familiar. Tip number 2, security, online safety. Tip number 3, research the event or community. And tip number 4, face to face. If you can, go in person, talk to that person or whatnot, and just get out there. And then tip number 5, your choice. So use your better judgment, kind of. So my tip number 1 with familiarity was to get familiar with the online connection that you're using, and just to make sure that you've set that part up right, but also be familiar with the group or the person that you're speaking to. If you were referred to another person, which sometimes that happens with me, I get referrals, or I'm talking to other people that hey, so and so is my friend, how are you doing? I've had long lost family members connect with me via Facebook. And at first I'm taken aback and I'm like, well, how do you really know? But then I go talk to so-and-so via like a messenger chat a day later. I'm like, oh, okay. So it depends. But be familiar with a person. Make sure that you do ask questions. Don't be afraid or intimidated not to inquire about what's happening with your, because even though it's online, it's still your account. It's still your information. You still have that environment. So just be familiar. Same thing as when you get onto other websites or you're logging in, and like I take a lot of courses online too, just to kind of like online understandings or instructions, just little things like Groupons, things like that. I researched the entire thing. Before I started using Groupon, before it became huge and popular, I would look at the deals and I said, well, this is really cool, but this can't be real. So I would, I'd go and look at the website. I'd go and do a little bit of research online via Google or whatever I could find. I would ask anybody if they've used this before or if they've heard about it. Like I would just get familiar with the situation with whatever item it is, and try and get a little bit better acquainted with it, because you just never know. So that was my tip number 1. Get more familiar. Don't be scared. Don't be intimidated. Dig in, dig deep. At the end of the day, it's going to be you that is, developing that rapport with that, and you want to make sure that you're spending your time wisely, as well as making sure that it's valid. Tip number 2, I say security. You want to be careful, because there's a lot, obviously, we hear a lot today about phishing, about security safety, a lot of phone numbers getting sold, a lot of accounts getting sold with information. You get the telemarketer calls and everything like that. I've done telemarketing myself, so I know how it is, but I also know from the inside that information can be received from all different demographics, and it could be one company selling your information to another company, and they don't know that they're getting that, but they just know that they put the time in to make sure that these people are interested, and all of a sudden you're not. So just make sure that when you are putting yourself out there, when you're getting involved with the different communities and such, that it is a security okay, you're not just joining any group just to join the group and you don't really know what you're joining. For me, for example, I am a part of some groups, and the groups that I'm a part of, I usually try and be a part of. Like, it's really just a branch off of one of the courses I'm a part of, and the groups I joined was a branch off of that. And then I joined a mom's community because I met a couple of girls in person for, I think it was just it was a joint picnic or a barbecue or birthday party. It wasn't far off of getting an invitation, meeting someone at the park and getting to know them and their kids, and just saying, hey, this is somebody that I want to connect to, and then, connecting with them in person, and going back another day to, enjoy or whatnot, and then connecting with them online as well. I have a neighbor that I recently met, and that's really well to meet the neighbor, and then you can connect with them online, and that helps too, Messenger, just to know right away, or it's just the same as exchanging phone numbers. But just like you do that, you want to be careful who you exchange your phone numbers with. So I try and steer away from just connecting to any group online, and try and steer away from just getting to any website and downloading anything. Especially today, for me, myself, I have a lot of information on my computer, so I try and be careful with that. And then obviously for a lot of us that go to work and go into secure places, I know that that's a huge thing with security. You want to be careful how you go in, what you take with you, and what you pull out, electronic wise, because there are so many things that can just happen. And when you get on the computer, there's just certain things that you're not allowed to engage with, and it's specifically for that security purpose. So as an individual, be careful with that, the same way that you would, treat it at work or whatnot. But I think that's a really great tip for online connections, is connect and be security alert. Now, tip number 3, research the event or community. So if you're a part of a lot of communities, which I am myself, or you get on Facebook and you see those little events at the top, this event is happening, that event is happening, those are super cool and they're so interesting, and I like to do them. Especially with my kids, if I can, especially if it's free, I like to do that. But research the event or community. You want to be sure that you're not just getting in the community event or getting into something that you're not fully aware of. When I was out of town and I went to California for not too long ago, I researched a couple of events down there. And even when I was down there having to research those events, I wanted to ask around. I said, hey, do you guys know of this event? Like, is this a popular event? What do you think about this? Like, that's what I think is a great thing to do, because not only are you seeing it online, but you're kind of preparing yourself mentally before you go in. You kind of know what ticket prices are if you're expecting that, or you kind of know, like, okay, I expect to see this type of, stuff happening at this event, or these type of people that are going to be at this event. I expect to walk a lot, or hey, I expect I got to bring this, I got to bring that, or hey, it only lasts for about 30 minutes. Might not go. So just kind of research the event or community to be sure that you know what you're getting into a little bit more, because online can kind of leave gaps of information. So I think that helps out a lot if you know as much as possible ahead of time before just getting into it and then wham bam, you just I think I've set up a couple of I had a couple times with the events that I did honestly kind of just put things together and asked a bit here or there, and then I got there and it wasn't exactly what I thought, but you don't want to be completely surprised or anything like that. So if you're also a part of communities, research the community. Try and get more information, and I would say get a referral to the community if that works. That way somebody that's in the community can tell you a little bit more about it. And obviously if you're getting a referral, then you're more than likely aware of who it is that's referring you. If not, introduce yourself, get a little bit more familiar. Some of the communities I'm with, I try and meet people in person if I can. And if anything, I try and get a little bit more intimate with the community, like messaging people, talking to people on the daily if possible, something like that. Keeping up to date with the poster, things that are going on, because if I'm not a part of it, then it's, you got to be careful where you put your attention, but you also want to know what you're getting into or what you are involved in. So research the event or community, make sure it's a valid community and you're not just joining anything and everything, and complete strangers are now approaching you in your messenger inbox about nothing related to what you're interested in. And my tip number 4 is face to face. Now this tip, as I was thinking about this tip, I automatically thought meet face to face because it's always better in person. And then I was like, well, wait a minute. You don't want people going and meet complete strangers. That's something that you don't want to do, is meeting, complete strangers, especially if it's not an ideal situation. But if you were referred to someone, say a coworker referred you to another individual via Facebook, hey, this is my cousin or this is so-and-so, just, if you can, bring somebody along with you and kind of meet them, be smart about it. And if anything, try and, get that person that referred you to introduce you guys in person, or say, hey, I got some time at 3 p.m. on Saturday. You guys want to get together? Try and do something that you can meet face to face, because there is a lot of nonverbal communications that online cannot always tell you. Meeting people over time and getting to know people takes a lot more than just online connections. So if you can meet face to face, do that. I've had a couple of like right now I'm offering consultations on my blog. As you guys can see, I'm offering consultations via Facebook, but I always recommend to do the phone if I can, talk on the phone, or if I can do like video like this, because I feel like it's more in person, because I feel like I can reach out and I can help people a lot better. And when you're on real-time communications, you can really understand what's going on. You can understand what it is that you need to interpret, what it is that you're going to have to assess, what it is that you're really needing from that person, or what it is that you can give to that person. So if you can meet face to face, I feel like that gives you a better chance to develop some type of relationship, or whatever it is that you're looking to do, a friendship, coworker, or potential, whatever it is. Because, and that's another thing. I've done a couple of applications via LinkedIn whenever I was applying for jobs. That's something, if you guys are have done in the past or whatnot, applying for job positions online, eventually you're going to have to go into person and do a person interview. It's just like that. You have online connections and everything like that, but if you can meet face to face, it would be best, because you won't want to get to know people, and not just online is just a way to connect, but getting to know people is the best thing that you can do in person. So for that, face-to-face, I was also going to say, I almost lost my train of thought. Face-to-face, you can also, like when I was going to school, I did a lot of online, but face-to-face, I felt like you can learn a lot more too that way, but it's just another way for you to get connected, but don't delete out face-to-face. Like, online's another way for you to get connected, but don't leave out meeting in person. Don't leave out like getting to know people in person, because that's what we do as humans. And then tip number 5, your choice. So I put that in there. No matter what you do, it's going to be up to you. Obviously, you want to use your better judgment. You want to start thinking about, there are some things in life that we all do and we all make mistakes, but you definitely want to consider, is it going to be something that your family members, are totally fine with or okay, or even like that? Like if my sisters were in state with me, I would be like, hey girl, let's go over here. Let's see what we do. I do got one sis in state, but she's cities apart or whatnot. So I actually contacted her not too long ago. But if it's something like that, like you want to try and remember that online is just a screen apart. We're still people and we still see each other and everything like that. You're just a screen apart. So for online communications, remember to use your best judgment, especially when you're getting involved into like groups and you've been a part of things for a long time, or whenever you're divulging more information, you want to use your best judgment. Anytime you're getting really personal in conversations, anytime that you're giving out, really personal information, account information, phone numbers, even though I do a lot of communications online for me, myself, I don't divulge a lot of my phone. I don't divulge my phone number. I don't put it out there a lot. So if someone calls me and it's not who I'm expecting, I'm going to automatically ask where to get my number. Or I'm going to, I gave that to you. So that would be a reason. And that's just like, you got to use your choice and use your better judgment or whatnot. And then you can kind of learn off of that too. So just all in all, think about it. Whenever you're connecting online, you can be personal, especially if it's someone that but do remember that whenever you use online communications, there is a trace. Be sure of that. So remember that online mediated communications, it's good for recording and things like that if you want to do that. But just remember, even when I communicate with my mom online and everything like that, that you just got to be aware that everything is online, and be sure to talk and know what you're saying and use your judgment when you want to say certain things, and just be watchful of it. But be safe, and those are my 5 tips to online connections.